Hello and welcome to Dimzys domain, and now that Merge Zamasu has been defeated, we wonder who the next villain in Dragon Ball Super can be. That's a legitimate threat. Well, what if I tell you that there's already been a character introduced who is also the strongest in all of Dragon Ball? What if I tell you that this villain could be such a threat that even the Omni-King is involved? What if I tell you that today I am joined by a very special guest who made the Dragon Ball What If synonymous with his name and a delicacy on his land? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Alrighty guys, it is Qaamans here today, and I really appreciate Dimzys for bringing me on this video.
And I'm very happy to have you here. So let's talk about who this villain could be. So Kaioshin, Supreme Kai of Universe 7, whilst they were in the future timeline, he said that, oh, nobody can defeat Zen-Oh when Goku asked him, hey, is Zen-Oh still around? Because he has the button. And then he summoned Zen-Oh, and this Zen-Oh didn't really know who Goku was. And what happened was, after Zen-Oh eradicated that timeline, and you'd expect all the universes within that timeline, he was brought to the present to befriend the present Zen-Oh and thus become his friend. However, what if there's an altercation between the two? Because Zen-Oh is very childlike and impulsive, it's only a matter of time before he gets into a disagreement even with himself, thus pitting them against each other, and you have Zen-Oh versus Zen-Oh. How realistic of a possibility do you think that Zen-Oh could be a villain? Future Zeno or present Zeno?
I think it's possible, but I just can't see a scenario in which two of them could be, because really, if you think about it, if two Zenos pretty much start fighting together, everybody's I mean, and not to mention, you remember, Trunks' time machine is now gone because he obviously went to the other time, so it's not like you can kind of reverse time and like stop them, you know, from, you know, destroying everything right before it happens. In essence, what I'm getting at here, guys, is I just think that Dragon Ball Super's at a point, and I'm thinking about doing a future video about this. Dragon Ball Super has too many strong characters, because if you gotta think about it, if Merge Zamasu, you know, is strong enough to pretty much, I guess you can say in essence, put such a strain on Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta in terms of fighting, because if it would require a Super Saiyan Blue to even do, you know, moderate damage on him, and Trunks getting the power from everybody, even though there was only like 20 people left on Earth, you know, to defeat him, you gotta think to yourself, who's the only other person in the universe that is substantially stronger than everybody else? And the answer to that would be Zen-Oh. And I think if you were to put Zen-Oh into the story, I think story-wise, the only characters that you can really get that could fight against them is if you somehow get all the gods to fight together, or, you know, get everybody. Because really, as you saw, Zen-Oh destroyed that universe so easily. If Goku and Trunks and the rest of them didn't use a time machine or get the hell out of there, they would have all died. So yeah, I would probably say that this is a scenario where it kind of could make sense for Zen-Oh to be a future villain.
Yeah, and before I add on those points, I do want to mention that there is a video called The Omni-Kings Zen-Oh which I made, which gives them more context regarding this video. Now, a quick mention about this future Zen-Oh. Remember this, he didn't really care that the Kaioshins and the Kaioshins of his universe are all dead, whereas the present Zen-Oh, wow, he intervened as soon as the universe 6 and 7, God of Destruction, Beerus and Champa, were not doing their jobs. So there is that personality difference in that sense. And in terms of power scaling, it really would make sense for this future Zen-Oh, or this evil Zen-Oh, to be defeated through the combination of all the gods of destruction, because we know that Beerus has the power to destroy his own universe. Therefore, if you have 12 or 13 or all the other gods of destructions alongside maybe the angel counterparts, they might be a legitimate threat or match against this evil or berserk Zen-Oh. So a quick question, can there be two Omni-Kings, or do you think there's going to be two Omni-Kings during the Omni Universal Tournament?
That would be interesting, but I mean, the future Zen-Oh, like, who is he gonna have on his team? Because he pretty much nuked like a whole universe, you know, in the future timeline. Unless like he goes to like, I don't know. I just really don't see it, because what would really be the difference? You know, like, I can't see like another Omni-King competing against another Omni-King, because I don't really know where the difference in the characters would be. So I can't see that specifically.
Well, because they're both very childlike, and let's say the first interaction that the future and both the present Omni-King had with a character which they befriended was actually Goku, so maybe they have an affiliation with Universe 7, and this could be the back door to having one of the Omni-Kings, the present Omni-King, maybe he may choose a representative to fight on his behalf, as well as the other evil Omni-King. One might pick Goku what if the other one says, hey, look, I like Universe 7 as well, I pick Vegeta. So you could have a Goku versus Vegeta fight, but more importantly, what if he picks another god or someone who impressed him during the Omni Universal Tournament? Because that is an opportunity to have this plethora of characters who may not have the backstory or whatever to then come to the forefront, such as Hit. Hit was the main guy from the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament. Could you see him actually picking a representative to fight on his behalf?
I can. And I can see where you're coming with this now, Dimzys, because you're saying like he can get, like it's not like the Omni-King can choose who he wants on his team, and then the other can pick who he wants on his team, and they have like a whole Omniverse to pretty much select who they want on their team. So now I can see what you're saying. What I was confused with is that because you're comparing them from two different timelines, they pretty much would, I would think, would have the same characters in essence. But yeah, they can obviously pick whatever characters they want and just throw them on the same team. So I can see what you're saying now.
And then you could even imagine, you know, those two little bodyguards, one of the Omni-Kings takes one of them, you know, they split amongst both Omni-Kings, and you could have that, and you see Daishinkan struggling to keep the peace. But one thing which I thought about is that essentially, if Zeno was to become this villain or endgame boss in the franchise, he would be the ultimate example of the darkest theme in Dragon Ball Super, and that is that you can't beat gods. So this makes it an ideal obstacle for Goku to overcome. Now let me just quickly explain this a little bit further, how Goku was really annoyed that he is part of a game, he's just a pawn in the game between Beerus and Champa when he was fighting Hit, and it really rubbed him the wrong way, very similar to how he couldn't achieve the Super Saiyan God power on his own. This theme in Dragon Ball Super has been hit home that, listen, you guys are the mortals, you guys are whoever you are, you can't compete with the gods. Know your place. I guess that's the catchphrase. Know your place and don't overstep the boundaries which have been put into place for you. And we know that Goku always oversteps the boundaries, whether it's from his own naivety, his playful nature, or him just trying to better himself. So could this be a very, very good example for Goku and Vegeta to overcome this obstacle of, you're not a god, you can't compete with us. Like Toriyama did say, he doesn't have any plans to have Goku or Vegeta surpass Beerus anytime soon. This is an idea which may happen later after Goku and Vegeta are ready to surpass Beerus or have already surpassed Beerus. So do you think that they're gonna... Oh no, what do you think about this dark theme of Dragon Ball Super about Goku and Vegeta not being able to withstand or be on the level of the upper echelon of gods?
Well, I think that serves as motivation to like make them strong enough to compete with them, because I think that's kind of what they were touching on with this whole Zamasu arc, that like two mortals can compete with a god. So I can definitely see that that could be a future plot element that they use, because really it's like Goku and Vegeta have now surpassed at least most mortals in the universe in terms of power. Obviously, there might be some that can compete with them, like obviously like Hit. But really, they're pretty much stronger than all mortals. So really, the only way to go from here on out is to really compete with the gods in terms of power. So yes, I would say that could definitely be something they add towards the future in terms of having them have a goal, I guess, per se.
The final point being, having these goals or motivation, or this potential motivation for Goku and Vegeta to strive to beat or become the best or beat this evil Zeno. Has there been enough build up for there to be an evil Zeno, for a Zeno to go to the dark side? Hey, this Zeno can go to the dark side from the assistance of someone else, someone more evil. And yeah, no, this is the last point actually, where a person or individual can then influence Zeno, and this will give an opportunity for the puppet master villain, who is essentially the main villain, for Goku and Vegeta to fight, who is more important but is at their power level. So he's weaker than Zeno, but then is an ideal opponent for Goku and Vegeta. So battles are being fought on different fronts. Zeno versus Zeno, Goku and Vegeta versus so and so. Because we do want to emphasize that Zeno does show childlike capability, childlike mindset, therefore he's very impressionable, and this could be an ideal scenario. So do you think there's enough build up to justify such a scenario between an evil Zeno versus everyone else? And I guess that'll be the final point of the video.
Yes, for some of the same reasons I said earlier, I think it can make sense, because if you think about it, Zeno is the type of character that if you write him properly, he could be a good villain, because he is a threat. You see, one thing that I felt, and I was talking to Black and Fist about this, one thing that Dragon Ball Super really needed in Super, like up to this point, was a villain. You know, obviously, if you think about it, in Battle of Gods, I guess Beerus was a villain, but he was a rehashed movie concept. And now Beerus isn't a villain now, at least, because he's more of a neutral ally. If you think about it in Resurrection F, Frieza was a villain, but he was pretty much a rehashed villain from the past. In Universe 6, there really wasn't a major villain. It was more of a competition between Beerus and Champa, and I guess Hit was a villain to a small degree, but not necessarily. So really, the villain, the true original villain in Super up to this point has been Zamasu. And
who wasn't defeated, by the way. Essentially,
yes,
he really
he
wasn't
had to
defeated.
be stopped by Zen-Oh.
Yeah.
So if you think about it like this, like Zamasu was like the true villain, that like original villain of the series. So really, where you can go from here is just pick Zen-Oh, pick a guy who's that much of a threat, and I think that's where it would make sense.
I want to use this opportunity to also talk about the videos I've done with Geekdom 101 talking about angels, and also on his channel where we break down the best and worst episodes of each arc. I spoke about Whis and Vados' dad, not only about Vegeta getting his own exclusive forms. All these thumbnails and videos I've done are probably floating around on the screen, so please make sure to check them out. And finally, please make sure to subscribe, because I'm gonna have videos talking about my evil Zen-Oh theory, breaking down Zamasu's character, dualism in Dragon Ball. What the hell is that? Well, I'll tell you. It's very, very interesting, so I assure you, you will not regret if you do subscribe to Dimzys Domain for all these videos in the future. I really want to thank Qaamans Land for joining me on this video. Guys, look, I'm sure you guys have already subscribed to him, but if you haven't, by some weird chance, make sure you subscribe to him. Binge through all of his What Is videos, binge through all of his Qaaman Talks videos, because it'll only do you a world of good. So, do you want to have the last word? And
yeah, man, just want to say, appreciate the really kind words, man, and if you ever want me to come back for a video, by all means.
Yeah, of course, I really would like that. So, you could end it, Qaaman, with your famous catchphrase.
Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.
Goodbye.